once. We are hanging out here in Thailand, and it is about midnight here.
So welcome to you. We're also going to be celebrating some special occasions, holidays to you. Thank you, Michael. Good, very, very early morning. Well, in 2 minutes it'll be early morning. So yeah, as everyone is streaming in here, just want to say welcome, and we got a couple questions people left in the chat, maybe this afternoon or something. But I wanted to say hi to Kevin, who is a loyal watcher, member of the channel, actually.
Hello, Kevin.
Out shopping. Hello, Kevin. He's going to miss it today, but I hope you have a good time shopping with your goddaughter. So enjoy that. See a couple familiar faces there. So if you have questions for us about Amtrak travel planning, drop them in the chat once you get in here. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions for you and get to some that are already there and give you some of our best and worst travel planning that we did for 2023 on Amtrak as well.
We'll have quite a little bit of everything, right? That's what we're doing, celebrating. We're celebrating a little bit of everything too.
Yeah, celebrating Christmas coming up here, but also our birthdays are coming up this coming week. Allie has a big one coming up on the 21st, and then the very next day, mine will be on the 22nd.
That's right.
What are we going to do for your birthday?
I don't know. I just thought of it today. I thought, we got to plan something.
Are you taking suggestions?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I can't think of anything. I don't know it's my 50th birthday, so I don't know what to do to celebrate here.
Yeah.
Outside of going to get a meal somewhere or something, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What should we do? There's a lot of cool stuff to do here, but we've done most of it.
Last year for my 50th, we went to an Edmonton Oilers game in Canada, so we're going to be on the exact opposite end of heat.
Yes.
So
we went from your 50th last year in Edmonton. We got tickets on the ice to see the Oilers, and it was on the glass, and it was so awesome. We had so much fun there. So we're gonna be not that cold this year. No jackets required for my 50th.
That's right. So let me get to a couple of the questions in the chat. Corey asked beforehand, do you know traditional dining will return to the trains on the East Coast? It is always questionable to know. You really just don't know. It'll happen when it happens. If you do want to look and see if it's returned and there's been no announcement, just look in the app or online when you're booking the train. You can click on the individual train you're trying to book. It'll tell you what the dining is going to be for that. Wanted to give a hello here to Brown Eyed Girl, who is leaving a message really that she's going to hang out in the chat with us today. So happy to have you. She's here just about every week, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Donald is asking, is it true that business class tickets no longer gives you lounge access in Chicago?
It is true, sadly.
Sad.
It's a bummer, but it's true.
Very sad.
You'll have to purchase day passes if you want access to the lounge. The only way in, if you have business class tickets, is if you have status. If you've gotten access to the lounge through your Amtrak guest rewards status. So either if you ride it a lot, like a lot of the people in that Northeast corridor ride the Amtrak trains a lot, and so they're able to gain status that way, or if you have the guest rewards MasterCard, their credit card, one of their 2 credit cards, you can gain access faster to status that way. But otherwise, if you're in business class now, unfortunately you have to buy day lounges, which is a bummer.
All right, Judy has a good question here. This looks like a 2-part question. Something we actually did. She says she is going, and she says happy birthday to both of us as well. First bucket list trip in the spring on the train from Florida to the Grand Canyon and back, with stopovers in New York City, Fairfield Inn, and Chicago, La Quinta. You're doing exactly pretty much what we did.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like you're doing our little trail that we did.
So I think you're going from Florida up to New York first, probably on the Silver Star, Silver Meteor, staying there, and then going all the way out to the Grand Canyon. So the question she has is, should we do a shuttle from Flagstaff to Williams? They're staying at the Grand Canyon Railroad Hotel, or rent a car in March. So yeah,
Okay.
we rented a car because we wanted to be able to. Actually, you can ride the train, the Grand Canyon Railroad train, up to the Grand Canyon. A lot of people do that. We did not do that though, which seems odd, right? Because we're trained people. But we rented a car and we rode up there because we had some special things we wanted. We wanted to stay later at night than we wanted to stay late into the night, actually, right?
Correct. And so the shuttle stops running at a certain time. The train stops running, and the shuttle, both of them, at a certain time. So we decided to just go ahead and just drive ourselves. We could have just left our car parked because we did stay at that hotel, which, by the way, is really nice. And it's really close to into town. Tons of places to eat right there in Williams. It's actually shared some of those in our video from the national parks that we did, the Amtrak National Parks Vacation. Check that out. We've got a couple of those here on the channel. But yeah, that's a great plan, and I think that you will have lots of fun doing them, as we did.
Yeah, we loved it. We did. One of the reasons we got a car too is that's where we were doing some astrophotography, and so we rode all the way out to Two Guns and Twin Arrows at night. Amazing. If you really want to see the stars, get a car and you can go out there. That was the thing at the Grand Canyon too. We stayed really late at night because we wanted to see if we could see the Milky Way. I don't know if you can see it in March though. So
yeah.
Brown Eyed Girl is asking, who are the Oilers playing? Seats along the glass. Yeah, they were playing the Blues, St. Louis Blues.
Yes.
And it was amazing being right on the glass, right?
Yeah. It was a really fun game.
Yeah. It was...
Actually, I found the Oilers fans to be so much fun that I kind of became a little bit, although I'm outing myself now, but became a bit of a closet Oilers fan. Whenever I see them playing, I sort of cheering for them still.
Yeah. People in Canada were so nice.
They were
so refreshing to be there.
We did have a really good time there. Actually, we also had a visitor for your special birthday too, like we have now.
Yes,
we have a special visitor with us.
We have a special visitor with us.
She's in there.
She's in that room over there. It is midnight, and she is somewhat jet lagged still.
She's still wrestling with jet lag.
May come and say hello.
She might join us and say hi.
Let's see. Michael Roy is asking, planning on taking the Canadian in November. Do the upper and lower berths have separate curtains?
They do not. Wait.
That's a good question.
Which one?
The upper and lower berths on the Canadian.
Oh, yes, they do. Sorry. Yes, they do have separate curtains. They're completely separate. Two separate things. And it doesn't even snap onto, it snaps onto the top, the upper berth snaps on at the bottom to the bottom bunk, and the bottom bunk, it just snaps in the middle and on the ends, or Velcros, I guess I should say, not snaps.
Let's see. Adam is asking, he says good noon, which is perfect. Is it better to stay on Via Rail to Montreal or stop halfway and take the next one? I think from Toronto to Montreal, yeah, we went just from Toronto to Montreal, and that was great. There wasn't really anywhere we wanted to stop in between there. Those are kind of the big cities. And we went to Montreal for a couple days, and it was like the coldest. Was it colder than Edmonton?
Yes, it was. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was during the real kind of cold snap that they had last year, which coincided at the exact same time that we were there. So we were piling up on the clothes quite a bit. So I would suggest to go in the winter time like we did. But it was still fun, and it was actually very beautiful because the way they decorated for Christmas was really pretty, and they had some Christmas markets going, so that was really cool.
Yeah, Via Rail did a really good job with Christmas. I don't know that we've ever been on Amtrak Christmas week, or this week.
I don't think so.
So I wondered, has anybody ever been
Other
on
holidays,
this,
but not Christmas. Yeah.
If you've been on this time of year, does Amtrak decorate the trains? It may be up to the individual car attendants.
Yeah, probably.
Because it depends on which one you might be getting. Yeah, Judy is going to do the Grand Canyon train and watch those videos. So.
Oh, good.
Let's see. Mike is back with a few more questions.
Okay.
Talking about seasickness. As he cruises a lot, takes some embarkation day meds. So yeah, you don't take medication for your. She gets really seasick too, and train sick. But you don't take the meclizine on the train though, do you?
I don't ever have to take it on the train. Once I figured out that if I'm facing the direction of travel, that's really kind of the remedy for me personally. I know everybody's motion sickness is a little bit different. The other thing that affects it on the train too is like if the sun is out really hot and it's kind of heating the room, or it's like right on me, sometimes that makes me a little bit queasy as well. But on cruise ships, for the most part, unless it's really rocky, I mean, we've done several cross-Atlantic crossings, and only on one of them did I have a little bit of trouble. Maybe about one day out of the entire trip, I usually have to take maybe medication for like one day, but outside of that, I usually do pretty good.
Let's see, Marita is taking a family member on a Grand Circle tour. Sunset Limited, City of New Orleans. Oops, it just jumped on me. Empire Builder and the CoStar Light. Wow, that's a great trip.
Wow, that is going to be such a fun trip. How nice of you to go along. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Steve is asking, had a question. Have you ever thought of cleaning the outside of your roomette window for better filming? My windows are typically dirty and wondered about it. We have thought about it.
We have thought about it, but the thing is you can't reach them.
Yeah,
it's very rare that you could reach up that high. I know it looks like you could, but you obviously can't do it from the inside. I have wiped the inside before, but the outside, you cannot
we're
reach
pretty
for
much
the most part.
always on the top. But what we did find out through trial and error is that if you want to film better, basically the dirt only shows up if there's sun coming through, and the sun comes through. Like if you're shooting right into the sun, you're gonna always have bad footage. But if you're shooting away from the sun, like the sun is at your back, as long as there's something in front of the back of the camera, like kind of like a shade, it'll work. So if you're shooting out your window and the sun is on the other side of the train, just pull your curtain shut, or even sometimes we pull the curtain and we put the camera like around the curtain. And if the sun is on your side of the train, we just go in the hallway and shoot out the other side, because
we have done that before.
Cannot shoot into the sun through a dirty window. That is always going to be a bad.
There she is.
Hi.
Say hi to Alexa.
All the way from Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yes. And yes, we named her Alexa long before Amazon stole her name. So there she
Christmas,
is. Hello.
Our Christmas and birthday present all in one.
That's right.
How are you enjoying Bangkok?
It's awesome. I love it.
And this is actually your second time here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did our birthdays, Christmas, and New Year's the first time. It was 2018 into 2019. So there's a lot of hi Alexas coming in.
Hi.
Yeah. Happy to have you here.
Yes.
It seems like it's not Christmas without Alexa.
It does. It seems weird if we celebrate Christmas and she's not around.
Our son is not here. He is still in Chicago.
He is still in Chicago, keeping Chicago cool for you.
Yeah, keeping it cool. We could not get him over here.
We couldn't get him on a plane that long.
Maybe next year. Yeah, it was like 24-hour flight for you, right?
Yeah, like from the time I went to the airport to the time we left this airport, it was 24 hours of travel.
And she had a pretty tight connection in Seoul, Korea that we were afraid she wasn't going to make.
We were like,
but they did hold the plane. How many minutes did you get on before they closed the door?
I had 3 minutes left. So I was like one of the last people on it. We made it.
Yay, she made it.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, everybody's saying hi to you. All right, let me jump back into some of the questions we had. Let's see where I was.
We lost our place.
I lost
before
track
Alexa
of where
came
I was.
out. She threw us off track.
Let's see. What national parks can Amtrak take you without using a rental car, without using one? That is a good question. So there are a couple. The easiest one, if you're just trying to check off your national parks list, is in St. Louis, the Gateway Arch is a national park. And you can basically, it doesn't stop right next to it, but you can ride their little city tram basically right to it.
And then, of course, you can get off in East Glacier National Park, and they will pick you up at the Amtrak station. If you've seen our video where we're going through that park, you can see the van. That van is picking up the passengers going into the park to take them to the accommodations in the park. So that's one that goes right in it also.
And then you can also do a shuttle system type thing to Yosemite most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's a good
Yes,
question.
most of the year.
Josh is asking, do you know when the new Acela train sets will be in service?
We have been waiting for the Avelias for quite some time, several years. It keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. They're just not meeting some markers that they need, and it's just taking forever. So we really have no idea. It literally has been pushed back the last 2 years, so we have no idea.
How do you know, Chunky Stew is asking, how do you know which trains have an observation car or is a 2-story train? So those are going to be basically only Superliners have observation cars. So none of the trains, if a train goes to New York at all, it will not have an observation car or be a Superliner. It is the trains that leave from Chicago that are sleeper trains that are going to have them. Now they don't all have them, but it will say when you're booking the train, you can look at like the train amenities, it'll tell you. But it's basically the big sightseeing trains from Chicago, like the Empire Builder, the Zephyr, Texas Eagle, Southwest Chief, Coast Light, those types of trains.
Yes.
Generally have them.
Generally, yes. And sometimes it's only for part of the ride, depending on which train you're on.
Anne is asking, our first time trip is this Wednesday night.
Ooh.
2:32 a.m. departure. Will the app tell us when the train is approaching the unattended station? And hi, Alexa. Wow, that is a late departure. Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
They will. You'll be able to see it, but I would just get there and
Yeah.
an unattended station in the middle of the night is tricky.
It is tricky.
Because it's probably a pretty small station without knowing what station it is. And you do need to be right on the tracks. Like, you need to be there.
Right there on the platform waiting.
Because if they pull up and nobody is there, they're not going to wait around for even 3-4 minutes for you. They'll just assume you didn't come. So, yeah, you just need to be there at 2:32 a.m. And if the train is late, then you're just gonna probably have to wait for it, because I would just not risk that. It's not like hey, is anyone here to get on? They will just leave.
Yeah, you can check in the app, kind of stay updated as to approximately what time it's going to get there. That's going to be probably your best bet, is to look in the app, so you'll know how close it's going to be. Like if it's running late, you'll know, is it running 30 minutes late? Is it running an hour late? Is it running 2 hours late? That's probably the best way to check, is to check if you have, make sure that you download the Amtrak app, and on there you'll be able to check train status. Click that, put in your train number, put in the station, and it will tell you when it's due to get there.
Yeah, it's so it is the Greenville station, I think, between Charlotte and Atlanta. So we've gotten on that train late in Atlanta too, and it's actually usually not that late.
Yeah,
it's never been when we've ridden it like 6 hours late. It's usually like 20 minutes late. So
yeah.
I would just plan on getting on, about the right time, because the thing is, if you're watching it too, they can make up time. So if it says it's 2 hours late, they could make up time between Atlanta and Charlotte and get there earlier than it says. So you don't want to miss the train just because of that. I'd be there at 2:30 before that, and be standing out on the platform, because they do not wait in the middle of the night at those dark unattended stations for long.
They don't. They don't want to keep the train stopped if they don't have to.
Nathan's asking what side to sit on the Southwest Chief, planning our cross-country rail pass trip to California in March with the westbound Southwest Chief, northbound Coast Light, and the eastbound Zephyr. The Southwest Chief doesn't really matter which side you sit on. They're both pretty good for that. There's really not much of a difference. Now the other two, there is a big difference. On the northbound CoStar Light, you want to sit on the west side. That'll be the left side. And on the eastbound Zephyr, you want to sit on the south side, which will be the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to pull that off because you're in a rail
Yeah.
pass, which would be great. That's one of the advantages of a rail pass.
Yes, is that you can move around to whatever, you can pick your seat according to where the best views are going to be. And then you don't have to worry about moving around the train when the views are there.
Jennifer's asking, what is the best way to check multiple dates when planning a trip? I feel the website is difficult to navigate when checking a range of dates. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just put in every single date.
Yeah.
Like I usually do like a week and then see if it
Mm-hmm.
is different, and then if it is, then kind of drill down to the individual dates.
And we generally use the app more than the website. The website can be a little bit tricky sometimes.
Yeah. David's saying Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, and hi Alexa. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Excited to be celebrating our birthdays here with her
Yay.
in Bangkok. Let's see. Sean has been trying to get a room from Atlanta to New York, but it seems to be booked all the way to August.
Wow.
He's trying to get a handicap room on the. This is going to be on the Atlanta train. So
Okay.
on the Crescent. So he's asking how difficult is it to get one, and also how easy is it? I'm assuming in Atlanta to get to the platform.
They have an elevator there, and the attendant will actually get you down to the platform and to the train, and they'll have a ramp to help you board the train. So definitely no concerns as far as that is, because the station is elevated in comparison to where the platform is for the train.
Let's see. Also, that is a Viewliner, so it's a one-level train. So that would be helpful.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Also.
Mhm. And each train car on the train, sleeper train, if you're trying to get that accessible room, there's only one on each train car. So that's why it's so difficult. There's usually only like two for the most part on the Crescent, I think, if I remember correctly. Usually there's only so if there's two sleeper car trains, that means only two accessible rooms on the entire train. So that's why they're so difficult to get.
Sean's also asking, how do you apply for the credit card? It's pretty easy to do. It's just go to Amtrak.com and there's a place to click. It should be at the bottom of that page. And that's pretty easy. And it is good to do. We both have it because it does give you points. So make sure you see what the offer is to get the free points. That's a good way to earn status, which is going to help you get those lounge passes that they took away from business class.
And to get free train rides too. We do that all the time. Actually, we used quite a few of those on that National Parks video from Friday. We used quite a few on that one because we had to break up some of those long trips by hopping off and hopping back on. And so it made it a little bit more costly. So the points and the passes they give you with the card definitely were helpful.
Amy is asking here, what is the best route to Niagara Falls from Minnesota? And is there a train or bus to take you right to the falls? So from Minnesota, it's a little convoluted. It's going to take 3 trains from Minnesota. So you're going to need to take the Empire Builder to Chicago, and then the Lakeshore Limited to, I think you could probably stop in like Buffalo in the middle of the night maybe. And then the next day you'd have to take the Maple Leaf to Niagara Falls.
And the train stops at both Niagara Falls stations. It stops if you want to go on the U.S. side, it stops, excuse me, on the U.S. Niagara Falls station. And then if you want to go to the Canadian side, you could ride the train across the border, get off, go through passport control, and stay right there at the Niagara Falls station in Canada.
Jeanette is on a trip from LA on the Southwest Chief to Chicago and return on the Zephyr in April. Getting a room at, can I depart and board at the Naperville station, or I need to board in Chicago for the Zephyr?
No, you can get on at the Naperville station, no problem. Actually, quite a few people usually get on there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that when we leave Chicago, we stop in Naperville, and there's always lots of people waiting there, so no problem. And it looks like it's a pretty nice station there. They've got some parking and all that kind of stuff, so you should be fine.
Yeah, and we have done it where, like, you may be asking if you've already booked at Chicago, can you just get off early? That's not generally as recommended, but we've done that where we booked all the way from Seattle to LA, and then we're like, why don't we book to LA? We're gonna get off because Alexa lives in Burbank, and so Burbank is the station before LA, and so we're like, why did we book to LA? We're gonna
We
have
always
to
forget.
drive back up to Burbank. And the Burbank is the second to last station, so if you just call in, you've called in, so you can tell them what happened when you called in.
Yeah, so I called in and I didn't have any trouble changing the ticket because I have executive status on there, but I've heard from people that they've had to pay a difference. Now, in my case, I actually got $12 back because it was more to go to LA than it was to get off at Burbank. So I got $12 back, but I've seen where because the ticket price overall actually went up, then even just getting off early, they still charged them. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you do it ahead of time before the ticket price goes up. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it, or unless you want to pay extra, which most people don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to.
We are gonna do some rapid fire here because in about 5 minutes, we're actually about 2 or 3 minutes, we're going over to the Ground Life Finances channel, and we're gonna continue the chat there or start a new chat about finances. So let me get into some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I put the link in the description this week. Hopefully I did, but no, I did not. So it's going to be go to the Ground Life Finances channel, and that's where we're going to be in about 3 minutes. Let's see. Have you ever gone past your stop intentionally to have a better arrival time? Yeah, we have, and we've done it. Mostly we do it to get a better station, because if there's one with like a better station, we do not like to unman stations. So that's
those are harder to get off at.
Yeah. How about Boston to Austin? Well, that rhymes.
Boston to Austin.
Yeah, you basically need to get to Chicago, and then you got to go south on Texas Eagle. So that's really the only way you can do it. To get to the west, you got to go through Chicago. So Lakeshore Limited, Texas Eagle would be your best bet there. So we just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us on this chat. We're gonna go over to Ground Life Finances in about 3-4 minutes here. I'm gonna try to. The link is not in the description of this video. I will try to put it in the next 2 minutes. So if you can't find it, just come back to this video and you can click the link. Yeah, thank you everybody for logging on, and great to hear from you. Have a great week, and thank you for celebrating our birthdays and Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see you next year.
Yeah, it'll be a couple weeks. We're taking
we'll take a couple weeks off. This is our last one of
off.
2023, so we'll see you guys in January. Watch YouTube for when that's coming back, and we'll also post it on our social media. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.